resignation is not an admission of any guilt or any wrongdoing.
Free National Movement Chairman Senator Michael Pintard resigned his post as party chairman today and has sent a letter to the Senate advising the same. Welcome to the start of another week of news, and good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley. Topping the news tonight, these developments come as investigations are underway into an alleged scheme by a major environmental organization in which some shocking allegations have been made.
We can tell you from our Clint Watson that Pintard says his resignation is no admission of guilt, and he explains why he took the steps that he took. Clint is joining us live in studio. Good evening, Clint.
Good evening, Altaviz, and good evening, Keisha. We can tell you tonight that having resigned from the Free National Movement as chairman and the Senate as an opposition senator, Michael Pintard sought to set the record straight on an ongoing saga that had his name at the center.
At no time did me in my capacity as a professional working with calendars and co, or as chairman of the Free National Movement, engage in any unethical or illegal activities in order to fabricate or get anyone else to fabricate information about Mr. Nygaard, about any member of the government, or any citizen for that matter.
Pintard says he was retained by calendars during the time of the alleged incident and was a strong supporter of Save the Bay's environmental group. He says the meeting in which there are tape recordings of him was organized through a colleague of his who was contacted by certain individuals who wanted to reveal the players behind the alleged hate rally and defamatory material being posted at the time online.
I was invited to such a meeting, and during the course of getting the facts, the evidence related to those things, they went further to indicate past acts that they had carried out and future acts that they claimed to have been contracted to carry out. And I sought to then introduce to colleagues and friends the evidence that they had provided, and to set up additional meetings so that they can speak directly to investigators.
Now, as to why he didn't go directly to the police after learning of the serious plots and knowing about alleged death threats, well,
I did not then and do not see now that it is my obligation to immediately leave such a meeting and go and report it to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. My obligation and the reasonable and sensible thing to do is to tell the friends and clients, here is what is being claimed, so that they can determine, one, do they want to go immediately and report it to the police? Two, do they want to take security measures in the event that word gets back to the culprits, those that came with the message, or anyone else, so that they could make any security preparations that they need? And thirdly, and most importantly, persons ought to further investigate to determine whether or not such claims are credible.
but we haven't heard the end from Pintard. He says over the course of the next few days and weeks, he will be spending a great deal of time to, quote, set the record straight.
So release, if there's no fear, I certainly have none, release the entire audio clip and not the cut and paste versions that seek to tell a story that I was not a part of. At no point did I fabricate or seek to get anyone to fabricate information. Secondly, the affidavit that is circulating online, a coached document, is inaccurate, and we will lay lie to that during the course of this week.
Now, Pintard suggests that the original undoctored affidavit will reveal the players, and although in his view filled with lies, will implicate a senior member of government as initially indicated. And Keisha, to answer your question as to why the resignation now, well, he says it's simply to remove the distraction from the Free National Movement as they continue their pursuit in perhaps becoming the next government. Live in the studio, I'm Clint Watson. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Clint. Former Free National Movement Chairman and Senator Michael Pintard has the full backing of his party following his decision to resign from those posts on Monday. Party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says despite Pintard's voluntary resignation, he maintains it's not an admission of guilt on his part, but sees it as a demonstration of political maturity. Dr. Minnis invited Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, whose name has also been linked to the controversy, to follow Pintard's lead.
The Free National Movement supports Michael Pintard's decision to defend himself against the political attacks being leveled against him. As Mr. Pintard has done the proper thing in tendering his resignation, we likewise call for the Deputy Prime Minister to tender his resignation based on the affidavits that raise questions about his participation in the same matter involving Mr. Pintard.
Now, despite previously calling for Pintard's resignation, Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Bradley Roberts says the party takes no joy in this latest development in the Nygaard Save the Bays saga. He also dismissed Minnis's call for Mr. Davis's resignation, stating that both Nygaard and Louis Bacon have said neither he or Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie were involved. While Pintard says he is guilty of no wrongdoing, Mr. Roberts says the public is intelligent enough to draw its own conclusions and questioned why the Fnm chairman would resign if he did nothing wrong. Mr. Roberts says he lays the blame of Pintard's political demise squarely at the feet of Dr. Minnis.
He has a duty to properly mentor, steer, direct, and advise young politicians in his caucus and under his charge as to the honor and integrity required in public office. Once again, Dr. Minnis' leadership was weighted in the balance and found woefully wanting. Rather than be the solid and exemplary leader of his colleagues, Dr. Minnis failed miserably in the dispatch of his duty, and as a result, Mr. Pintard has become a casualty of an avoidable situation.